When you're old and alone, do this every day to stay happy and avoid loneliness. Senior advice. Hello there, my dear friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad you're here with me today. If you're new, this is a little corner of the internet where we talk about living well, staying healthy, and finding joy, especially as we get on in years. I'm 90 years old now, and I've seen a lot in my time. Some wonderful, some hard. Today, I want to share something that's been on my mind. When you're old and alone, do this every day to stay happy and avoid loneliness. I've lived through a lot of changes. You know, my kids are grown and far away. My husband passed on years ago, and many of my friends are no longer with us. There are days when the house feels so quiet, it almost echoes. I bet some of you, whether you're in your 50s, 60s, or even older, might know that feeling too. Loneliness can creep in, can't it? But let me tell you something I've learned in my 90 years. It doesn't have to take over. There are little things you can do every day to keep your heart warm and your spirits up, even when you're on your own. So, picture us sitting together, maybe on my front porch with a cup of tea, the way I used with my neighbors back in the day. I'm here to share some wisdom I've picked up over the years, things that have helped me and others I've known. These aren't fancy ideas, just simple, everyday habits that can make a big difference. Whether you're in a big city like New York or a quiet village in the English countryside, these will work for you. By the end of this, you'll have some ideas to try, ways to feel less alone and more connected to the beauty of life. Let's get started, shall we? Now, let's get to the heart of it. I've been around for 90 years, and I've had my share of lonely days. But I've also learned how to find joy, even when I'm by myself. When you're older and alone, the days can feel long and the silence can feel heavy. But I'm here to tell you, you can fill those days with little sparks of happiness. I'm going to share some daily habits that have helped me, and I'll tell you stories about others I've known, too. These are things you can do every single day to stay happy and keep loneliness at bay. Let's dive in. 1. Start your morning with something you love. When I wake up in the morning, I like to start my day with something that makes me smile. It doesn't have to be anything big, just a little something to look forward to. For me, it's sitting by my window with a cup of tea and watching the birds in my garden. I've got a little feeder out there, and the sparrows come every morning. It's such a simple thing, but it gives me a reason to get out of bed. I remember my friend Edith, who lived down the street from me in Boston years ago. She was in her 60s then, and after her husband passed, she told me mornings were the hardest. The house felt so empty. I suggested she find one thing to love about her mornings. She started making herself a piece of toast with marmalade, her favorite, and she'd sit at her kitchen table, listening to the radio. She told me, "It's not much, but it feels like a little treat just for me." So, my dear, tomorrow morning, find one thing you love, a warm drink, a favorite song, or even just a sunrise. Start your day with that. It'll give you a little lift, I promise. 2. Take a walk, even if it's just a mailbox. Now, I know I'm 90, and I don't move as fast as I used to, but I still make sure to get up and move a little every day. It's so good for your body and your soul, too. You don't have to do anything fancy. Just a short walk can make you feel so much better. I like to walk to my mailbox every morning. It's not far, but it gets me outside and I can feel the fresh air on my face. My neighbor Tom, who's 72, used to sit in his chair all day after he retired. He told me he felt so lonely just watching TV. I said, "Tom, why don't you take a little walk with me?" We started walking around the block together, just 10 minutes a day. He'd tell me about his grandkids, and I'd tell him about my garden. Now, even when I can't join him, he still walks every day. He says it makes him feel alive. So try it. Take a little walk, even if it's just at the end of your driveway. Wave to a neighbor if you see one. It'll do wonders for your mood. 3. Talk to someone, even for a minute. One thing I've learned in my 90 years is that we all need to feel connected, even just a little. When you're alone a lot, it's easy to go a whole day without talking to anyone. But even a quick chat can brighten your day. It could be calling your daughter, saying hello to the mailman, or chatting with the cashier at the grocery store. I'll never forget my friend Margaret, who lived in a small town in England. She was 65 and felt so lonely after her kids moved away. I told her, Margaret, just say hello to one person a day. She started small. She'd smile at the lady at the bakery when she bought her bread. Over time, they started talking, and now they're good friends. Margaret told me, I didn't think a little hello could lead to so much. So, today, talk to someone, even if it's just to say, nice day, isn't it? You'll feel a little less alone, I promise. 4. Listen to something that lifts your spirits. When you're by yourself, your thoughts can get loud, can't they? Sometimes I catch myself thinking about the past too much, and it makes me sad. That's why I like to fill my day with something that lifts my spirits. For me, it's listening to music. I love the old songs, like Bing Crosby or Ella Fitzgerald. But it could be anything that makes you feel good. My friend Henry, who's 78, lives alone in a little apartment in Chicago. He told me he used to feel so down just sitting in silence. I suggested he try listening to something cheerful. He found a radio station that plays old comedy shows, like the Jack Benny program. He told me, I laugh out loud, and for a little while I don't feel so alone. You could try a podcast, too, maybe something lighthearted or inspiring. Every day, find something to listen to that makes you smile. It's like a little gift for your heart. 5. Keep your hands busy with something fun. I've always believed that keeping your hands busy can keep your mind happy. When you're doing something with your hands, you don't have time to feel lonely. For me, it's knitting. I've been making scarves for my grandkids for years. But it doesn't have to be knitting. Maybe you like to bake or garden, or even just color in one of those adult coloring books. I knew a man named Charles, who was 70 and lived alone in a small house in Texas. He felt so lost after his wife passed. I told him, Charles, why don't you try something with your hands? He started whittling little wooden figures, nothing fancy, just for fun. He'd give them to his neighbors, and soon everyone knew him as the wood carver. He told me, it's not just a carving, it's knowing I got something to share. So, every day, find something to do with your hands. It'll keep you busy and make you feel proud. 6. Look for the little things to be thankful for. At my age, I've learned that gratitude can change everything. When you're feeling lonely, it's easy to think about what's missing, your old friends, your busy days. But there's always something to be thankful for, even if it's small. Every day, I try to think of 3 things I'm grateful for. Today, it's the sunshine coming through my window, the taste of my oatmeal, and the sound of my neighbor's dog barking. It makes me laugh. My friend Alice, who was 68, used to feel so lonely after her husband passed. She told me, I don't have anything to be thankful for anymore. I said, Alice, let's start small. She started noticing little things, like her soft blanket, the smell of her morning coffee, a kind word from her mail carrier. Over time, she told me, I realize I still have a lot to smile about. So, try it today. What are 3 little things you're thankful for? It'll remind you that there's still good in your life. 7. Treat yourself like you're special. You know, when you're alone, it's easy to forget to take care of yourself. I used to think, why bother cooking a nice meal just for me? But then I realized, I'm worth it. You are, too. Every day, do something to make yourself feel special. Maybe it's putting on a nice sweater, or making yourself a cup of hot cocoa, or even just brushing your hair and looking in the mirror to say, I'm doing okay. I remember my friend Dorothy, who was 66 and lived alone in a little cottage in the English countryside. She told me she stopped caring about herself after her kids moved out. I said, Dorothy, you deserve to feel special. She started making herself a proper breakfast every morning. Eggs, toast, the works. She told me, it feels like I'm taking care of myself again. So, every day, do one thing to treat yourself. You're worth it, my dear. 8. Look back on your day with a smile. Before I go to bed, I like to take a moment to think about my day. I ask myself, what made me smile today? It's a nice way to end the day on a good note. Maybe it was a phone call from my granddaughter, or the way the flowers in my garden looked, or even just a funny moment on the radio. My friend William, who's 75, started doing this after I suggested it. He lives alone in a small apartment in New York, and he used to go to bed feeling sad. Now, he takes a few minutes to think about one good thing from his day, like a kind word from a neighbor or a good laugh from a TV show. He told me, it's like tucking myself in with a happy thought. So tonight, before you go to sleep, think of one thing that made you smile. It'll help you rest easy. 9. Keep a routine. It's like an old friend. At my age, I've learned that a routine can be a real comfort. It gives your day a shape, something to hold on to. I have my little habits. I wake up at the same time, have my tea, take my walk, and in the evening, I read a bit before bed. It's nothing fancy, but it makes me feel steady. I knew a man named Frank, who was 80 and lived alone in a small town in California. After his wife passed, he felt so lost. He didn't know what to do with his days. I told him, Frank, make a little routine. He started having his coffee at the same time every morning. Then he'd read the newspaper, and in the afternoon, he'd call one of his kids. He told me, it's like having a friend who's always there. So, think about your day. What's a little routine you can build? It'll keep you grounded. 10. Hold on to your memories. They're a gift. Finally, don't be afraid to look back on your memories. At 90, I've got a lot of them, and they're like old friends I can visit whenever I want. I have a box of old photos, and sometimes I'll pull one out, like the one of my husband and me at the beach in 1960. It makes me smile to remember those days. My friend Clara, who was 70, used to feel so lonely after her kids moved away. I told her, Clara, your memories are a treasure. She started keeping a little journal where she'd write down happy memories, like the time her family went camping or the day her son took his first steps. She told me, it's like I'm surrounded by love again. So, every day, take a moment to think of a happy memory. It'll remind you of the beautiful life you've lived. Well, my dear friends, there you have it. 10 little things you can do every day to stay happy and keep loneliness away, even when you're old and alone. Let's go over them one more time. Start your morning with something you love. Take a little walk. Talk to someone. Listen to something cheerful. Keep your hands busy. Be thankful. Treat yourself like you're special. Look back on your day. Keep a routine and hold on to your memories. These are simple things, but they've helped me through many a quiet day, and I know they can help you too. I've lived 90 years, and I've learned that happiness isn't something that just happens. It's something you make little by little. You're stronger than you think. You know, you've got a lifetime of wisdom and love inside you, and you still have so much to give, even if it's just to yourself. These daily habits are like little candles. They'll light up your days, even when things feel dark. Before I go, let me share a little saying I've always loved. The best is yet to come. I believe that, even at 90, there's still joy to be found, still moments to cherish. So, pick one of these ideas and try it tomorrow. See how it feels. And if you'd like, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what works for you, or just say hello. It'd mean the world to me to know you're out there. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who might need a little lift. I'll be back soon with more stories and tips. Until then, take care of yourself. You're a treasure. See you next time, my friends.